Number 24, episode number 24, I believe. Yes, it is, episode number 24. So what I'm doing over the past couple of weeks, what I have been doing over the past couple of weeks, and what I'm currently bringing to you again today is another little snippet of something that I filmed about a year ago, which was talking about the term recovery, especially from something like an anxiety disorder, like a disorder that's etched deep within the psyche. And the reason I'm bringing these videos to you is because on one side of things, it's a little bit of marketing for my book, which is coming out on the 1st of November. But it's also, I'm trying to just set up a self-exploratory idea of some of the stuff that I've been looking into recently and kind of relate that to maybe some of the stuff that I was talking about and going through last year, and in the hope that that will bring some value to you. In terms of that, what I've been looking at over these past few weeks are the actual stories and myths and things of where religious ideas actually come from. I've been reading a book called The Power of Myth, who was actually a transcript of a conversation between Joseph Campbell, who came up with the concept of the hero's journey, and Bill Moyers. And this is some stuff that I've been writing about, guys, but I wanted to read you a quote from Joseph Campbell first, and it goes like this. Now, I came to this idea of bliss because in Sanskrit, which is the great spiritual language of the world, there are three terms that represent the brink, the jumping off place to the ocean of transcendence. Sat, Chit, Ananda. The words Sat mean being, Chit mean consciousness, and Ananda means bliss or rapture. I thought, I don't know whether my consciousness is proper consciousness or not. I don't know whether what I know of my being is my proper being or not. But I do know where my rapture is, so let me hang on to my rapture, and that will bring me both my consciousness and my being. So he saw this not merely as a mantra, but as a helpful guide to the individual along the hero that each of us walks through life. If you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, waiting for you, and the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. Wherever you are, if you are following your bliss, you are enjoying that refreshment, that life within you all the time. He actually copped a bit of flack for this because a lot of people kind of, the word bliss pertains to a hedonistic lifestyle of just pleasure seeking, and people like today, so people like Jordan Peterson, for example, obviously don't like that idea, and I don't like it either within that context, but I don't think that's what Joseph Campbell was talking about when he spoke about the word bliss. And this is what I wrote in reference to that. Rapture from the Christian perspective, the second coming of Christ. Christ as a representation of the eternal is therefore a presentation of death. So I like to mold Campbell's trademark pursuit of follow your bliss into follow your rapture, which, as we now know, can be deemed as follow your death, and as Ram Dass stated, keep death in the awareness of consciousness. Death is not merely the end of life. Death brings with it the end of time and space. So think of the moments in your life where you truly were brought to the present with absolutely no concept of anything else but the experience of the present itself, whether that was massive amounts of fear, joy, excitement, the first and only time you lost your virginity, anything that just you were right in that moment. Think, as you can now, and reflect upon the sheer joy, the beauty of that moment. Was it your first kiss? Was it the first time you had sex or faced a horrifying fear that brought with it a feeling of liberation unmatched by anything you'd ever felt? That, I believe, is where bliss lies. Those moments are the clues that guide you back onto or continue to guide you along your path. The experiences that opened the doors to the kingdom of heaven or gave you a place to sit under the Bodhi tree, and Gautama, the Buddha, once did. As Gautama, the Buddha once did, it's only a first draft. And the beauty of life, of a time in space, is that these moments are to be acknowledged only upon reflection and not in the moments themselves. The moments themselves are purely for the experience. That is the nature of the now, and that is why we constantly strive for it each and every day of our lives. So I think that when Joseph Campbell was talking about follow your bliss, he was talking about follow the moments in your life that you have no concept of absolutely anything. And if you constantly strive for those experiences in life, you will walk a path that is for you and intended only for you. Another thing that I was having a look at were some of the Bible, some of the Gospels. So I've been looking in the Gospel of Thomas in the Bible. there's a couple of little lines here that I wanted to talk about. Verse 70 in the Gospel of Thomas: if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And that is a Jungian concept that I learnt from actually reading a little bit of Carl Jung. And it's essentially what you bring forth from in your unconscious, all the shit that you tend to look away from. This is the shadow. This is the Carl Jung concept. That's the stuff that's going to enlighten you, because it's going to teach you a lot more about yourself. And that's a process which Carl Jung spoke about, which is a process of individuation, where the conscious and the unconscious reconcile with one another, and your conscious is brought to light, is awakened, essentially. So we all have within us wounds and gifts, and the darkness and the light and the self and the shadow. That's kind of those parallels there. There was another little saying, which is 108 in the Gospel of Thomas, which is, whoever drinks from my mouth will become as I am. I myself shall become that person, and the hidden things will be revealed to him. And I just really think, and I've got a lot of bias, confirmation bias here with all this sort of stuff, but I really think that what Jesus said there is pertaining to just that unified consciousness within the whole of everything that we know. And the further you go within yourself, the further you start to realize these conceptions. That's kind of what I'm looking at the moment, guys. Without further ado, though, I'm going to give you a little snippet that I recorded about a year ago, and that talks about, can you recover from an anxiety disorder, and what is essentially anxiety? Enjoy. Alrighty, guys, I really hope you enjoyed that one. That is the way that I kind of always hope you enjoy them. Couple little housekeeping things, like I did say at the start of this podcast, episode 24. My book will be coming out November the 1st, 2018, and I'll be doing a little bit more marketing in the lead up to that, which is always very exciting. I'm very excited to hear what you guys think of it. The way the podcast is kind of moving, it's moving not necessarily away from the mental health sphere, but it's kind of broadening those terms and those concepts into the deeper stuff, because I think that's where my fascinations are moving me towards. And they're also based on your guys' feedback, where your fascinations are as well, which is really cool. So I'm really excited that we can share this journey together, and really unpack the deeper stuff in life, whether that's talking about what the religions are really trying to teach us, what spirituality talks about, and I guess a way or ways to cultivate meaning in our own lives, because otherwise, why the fuck are we here? So book's coming out 1st of November. That gives you a bit of an insight into what mental health was like for me in terms of panic attacks and OCD and anxiety, and hopefully that helps. And yeah, I'm really excited to just continue to bring you guys tools and things, and share a journey with all you. So until next week, guys, I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye for now.